Hey guys, I want to share my thoughts on the Darlie Routier case, specific to the death penalty. Do I think that Darlie Routier is guilty? Oh, she is guilty. What she did was absolutely terrible. Oh my gosh. And I think the evidence supports the guilty verdict just fine. She was convicted of capital murder in February of 1997 after her sons were brutally murdered in what should have been the safety of their own home on June 6th of 1996. Yes, I believe Darlie Routier is guilty. However, I do not believe that she should be executed. Hear me out. Darlie and her husband were very young. They were in their 20s, late 20s. They were so caught up in consumerism. They were so focused on their appearance that they spent money so fast and so furious. I think it's an understatement to say that they were definitely living beyond their means. Darlie's husband made good money. He made really good money for a couple of years. But they didn't pay their bills. They owed back taxes. They were struggling to make the house payment on time. Darlie was known as Shop Till She Drops Darlie, and her charge cards were maxed out. They had a nice home, but they were broke. Yet that didn't stop Darlie. She had to have those vacations. She was heading out east to spend a couple of weeks with her family, and then I think the following month she was scheduled to go to Cancun with one of her friends. Her husband tried to borrow $5,000 shortly before the murders, and the bank turned him down. I think the year before he had made $100,000. I think was his actual income from his business that had grossed I think 200,000 or 300,000. And the bank turned him down for $5,000. They were broke. Now, just because they were broke, am I saying that she shouldn't be executed? No. But I think if you look at the bigger picture, they were on self-destruct. Their marriage was on self-destruct. And I think Darlie herself was on self-destruct. She went to her doctor and told him that she wanted that diet pill, fen-phen, and her doctor gave it to her. Did you know fen-phen was taken off the market? Do you know why? You should research it. Darlie was taking fen-phen at the time of the murders. But there's something even more troubling. Darlie said at her trial that her stepfather had first molested her when she was 8 years old. And shortly before the murders, Darlie actually handed her children over to the same man who she claimed had been molesting her starting when she was an 8-year-old little girl. Darlie had issues going on, and she told her friend that she didn't want to go for help because she didn't think it would look good in the custody battle. She was afraid her mother-in-law was going to get custody of her children. Any one of those details may not matter on its own, but when you put it all together, I think it matters. I don't think she should be executed. I think she was actually screaming out for help, but nobody helped her. In fact, her husband came home early from work one day. I think she called him and told him to come home. She was laying in bed crying and contemplating ending her own life. Her husband would later say that he actually became angry with her for how she was feeling, and they never spoke of it again. You see what I'm saying? Darlie needed help, and nobody helped her get the help that she needed. Yes, what she did was terrible. Absolutely terrible. There's no way. It's just like Christopher Watts putting those poor little babies in the oil drums or whatever you call them. There's no way to explain it. There's no way to understand what Darlie did. But she was crying out for help. And sadly for her, she was of the belief, evidently, that as long as she looked pretty and as long as she traveled and as long as she had whatever charge cards she needed to go shopping and as long as she lived in the right neighborhood, then everything would be okay.